Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith of the Smith of the Black channel here at Ticker Talker, and it's a Monday, and we got ourselves a simultaneous break going on here. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, we come in with news, and there's COVID news, we've got stimulus package talk, we got election, all that kind of stuff. But what simultaneous break is, and it usually occurs on a Monday or beginning of the quarter or the month, and on the downside, so what's happening here is on a Monday when if everything starts to come down, it starts to trigger all the 60-minute signals, which trigger daily signals, which trigger weekly signals, right? In almost everything. So if you look at the SPY here, you're going to see this on Friday. Was it two up here by taking out Thursday's high? And then here, boom, there's your reversal right here coming down. Going to take out last week's lows here, right? And look at this, the inside month. After everything's said and done, right here, the opening was 337.69. We're at 338.29, right around there. So we knew about that, and we can expect these chop and reversals back and forth. But the simultaneous break, if you go through every major sector, you go to the financials, FAS. That's a 2-2 reversal. And going after last week's lows, you go to SMH. Here, right, inside day to the downside, taking out last week's lows. If you go to QQQ, inside day to the downside, and it actually poked up just a little and came back. So once you see all the sectors breaking in the same direction to the downside, very tough to reverse. If you're going to reverse it, you're going to have to do something on the 61st. And so you can see this Qs. They tried to fight back in the morning. They tried to say, we'll just go back to the Qs again. And then, boom, rejected, 3-2 to the downside. And so if you go to the 30, you're going to see this. You hear me talk about a compound outside bar, right? And that's it right here. Poked up on that inside day, but then once it came back through here, this is your 2-2 reversal on your 30 to give you an outside bar of all this. And since it's a simultaneous break, like once that rebroke to the downside right here and it turned red, everything fell apart. And right now we got a new 60, so we wanted to see what happens. And right on the new 60, you go inside and down on the 30. Right now, still continuing the simultaneous break. Like I said, very tough to reverse when everything's doing this. However, we got some stimulus news. Maybe they do something, but until then, until you can get a reversal on the 60, you got heat because every sector, you got XLE here puking, all looking very similar. And you see this XLE coming down here. This is an outside day. Boom, 2-2. Now you're going to be that. These two are going to be an outside bar of all that, right? Because you had crude coming in. Crude dropping in after the Friday's inside day to the downside, so that's certainly not helping the OIH crew or anything like that. So if we do firm up, so the only thing we would do is if we firmed up is go after anything taking out Friday's highs, right? Because anybody short that stuff got what they wanted, right? The market's tanking. But if your stock starts going up in this, you got problems, and that's getting fewer and far between as of right now. So this morning, one of the clues that we had was the diamond staying down here. So when the Qs did this here and tried to rally up, the diamond stayed down, right? And almost everybody there was having all sorts of problems. We had Boeing, you have doing the 2-2, everything looking very similar, the inside weak to the downside, and CAT here, it's getting pounded here all the way back down through here. You can see this. Inside day pokes up. Is that what we look for? It is. Rev strat to the downside. 2-2 week reversal on the cat tractor. Right now, like I said, we're still going to the lows. So as I talked about before too in the SPY, the 60-minute broadening formation, and now here, let's give the 60. Now trying to accelerate through that. We had a bad tick on the SPY. That's not real. So if you take this out, it looks like this here. Oops. There we go. Here, you can see the slight higher high there. And then this is an outside bar of all that. And then it couldn't get out of here. Now, bam, going back towards the low. So we'll see how much worse that gets. Another thing that we can look for is how you can tell the simultaneous break without even looking, right? Is if you go to the scan, you want to see something like this. Volume. Anybody taking out yesterday's lows? What does this look like? GE, American Airlines, CCL, Intel, Bank of America, DraftKings, Microsoft, Exxon, pretty much across the board. Cisco, Wells Fargo, all different sectors, all major stocks, right? And then if you go to who's taking out Friday's highs here. You had AMD trying to fight back. Dunkin' Donuts on a gap, but you can see it's almost a who's who of nobodies. You do have Amazon, but comparatively, not so much, right? And that's what a simultaneous break looks like. So, if we go to also the weekly breaks, here you can see the amount of inside weeks to the downside. CCL, Boeing, APA, RCL, all the pandemic names. You got Qualcomm in there. You've got Costco in there, McDonald's in the Dow, Analog Devices. As you can see that, so a lot more pronounced on that side. So if we take a look here, what we did have, if they do firm up, we did have stuff like QDEL here, taking out Friday's highs and coming back through the previous range, also going after last week's highs. If we go to Spotify, so some of the pandemic names that are getting hit and the pandemic names that are doing okay. So you can see Spotify taking out yesterday's highs, not totally gunning here because we still got the heat going on this market. But those are something, if you do get a reversal on the 60 and the S&P, the Qs, stuff like that, we can look at some of these types of names. ZM was trying to stay up positive here too, now starting to come in. Let me shrink this down for you. So that's now starting to come in with a lot of these things coming in. All right, there you go. Gets stuck in here, and that 60 comes down. CDLX also now starting to come in. You can see that right on that 60-minute opening. Right, if it was going to continue, that's what would have done it. But it's succumbing to the ways of the sell-off here. Right. So let me see how much it's off the highs. So it does that, but it is also above last week's highs. Like I said, if anything firms up here, ARNA here, and this is in my weekend video. And now you can see it's stalling out on the inside 60s, but starting to perk up here on this new 60. This is what we look for, upper middle. Taking out the highs, taking out the lows, and then boom, for these two to become an outside bar of that, target would be over 86.58. SPY's still skirting the lows right now, so if we go to a UTHR, talking about this all month, now you got your outside day, outside bar, now coming back through, but still good on that monthly. But these things heavy eddy, man, just go straight to the selling because we've got some usual stuff. This is everybody. Well, like I said, simultaneous break. You got GILD. Still, this thing is all sorts of trying to run down severe good news, and that just continues to sell. Now you've got yourself an inside 60 to keep an eye on. Like I said, that RCL pandemic names not liking the surge in COVID, and you see this takes out previous high in the upper left. Boom, coming back through previous range. We call that the pivot machine gun. Boom. Anybody long this is stopped here, 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 here. Takes them all out in one shot and gives you the inside weak to the downside, which tells you to look at everything. And you can see also here, doing the reversal on the monthly now. 2-2 reversal down on the monthly, which tells you to look at CCL and other pandemics and stuff like that going inside weak to the downside. Market going to the lows as I speak. Now, this is why you want to know about a simultaneous break, all right? It's very tough to reverse. And so if you go to SAP gap down, and SAP having all sorts of problems there, and that bleeding out over into VMW here. There's your 2 down, 2 up day, and boom, taking out last week's lows, going red on the month now. Oracle was getting hit. Everybody, but Oracle starts to try and come back a little bit. Okay. SMH. We always know SMH and where they're going to run to. SMHers, QQQs, all that stuff. And XLK. And XLK to the inside day to the downside here and taking out last week's lows. That's a problem. I got news for you. That's a problem. You got stuff like AVGO here, the inside day getting pummeled. And it also changes it to full time frame continuity to the downside by taking the month red, week red, day. And anytime that 60 was red, it's over. Okay, if we go to Amgen, we know Amgen's been in trouble. That's also a weekend video because here, the 2 down on the month. Took that up. Now this month has just been bleeding out. We got a new week. Still bleeding. All right. Still bleeding. That took out slight higher high on Friday. And then boom. There's your 222 right back down. Intel still bleeding out here. So there's your outside week 3-2 expansion. Red on all time frames. Still having problems. There's Intel. If we go to FLT. This is nice to look for when you have on a Monday. When you have a Friday sitting up there on the top, and then you go 2-2 on the reversal here, you can see this getting pummeled back through previous range. Still an inside week, but a real nice reversal off of that, and we'll see if that sets up again for you. The 15er, there you go. And if we go to Ulta having all sorts of issues here. Outside week to the downside, trying to go outside month. And you can see just walking down here, since the 15er right here, looks like right there. And then stop them out here. If we go to MA, inside month to the downside. And so as we get closer to these inside months closing out, we want to see how many of these simultaneous breakers go, because that's when you can get the really big moves. If we go to the SPY, you can see back into here was a real nice one, the inside month, and then boom, continuation, inside month, reversal. Right, now we're going to have an inside month after an outside month. Right, which side of this thing do we take? And when it goes, do we have a simultaneous break? Do all the things go with it? That's what we're going to be keeping an eye on here. If you go to GWPH, and GWPH here, upper middle, the inside week pokes up, and then boom, stops out these guys right back through here. All right, RevStrat style into here. We'll see if that sets up again. There was a nice 30-15er for you right there. DY. I mean, essentially, in a simultaneous break, I could sit here and go through everything, right? Pretty much. So DY, it's just like the previous range is what you want to look for, right here, all right? 2 up, and then takes all these guys out in one shot, right? And here, if you go to the weekly, that triggers that right there, the 2 up, the 2 down. We'll see if there's more coming on that. Right now, is S&P still heavy. We had a bad tick in that SPY. That was not right here. So right now, still sticking the lows, no reversal as yet. What's this VRTX doing here? VRTX still puking here. Inside day to the downside, still having all sorts of problems since that gap, and that's why some people will choose to stay on the gap list more than a day. If we go to TJ Maxx, PJ Maxx, and been watching this broadening formation here. Here, right there, the higher high, the lower low, the higher high. Then we pop it up, and now back through on the 2-2 reversal day on a Monday, which triggers the red week, red month, red day with reversal, right, and continuation down into here. If we go to American Express, and here we call that the Momo shooter. All right, anybody who's short got stopped out, and anybody who was long says I could stay long versus here. Bam! Right, everybody's gone. Takes them down. Let's see what that sets up on the 30. Here, there was your inside 30 right here. There's another one right here. You see that? And that's how you get your entries. Qs go to the lows as I speak. So the simultaneous break is on, and we'll see how much they want to hit them, or can they firm up at toll coming into the afternoon. We've got, like I said, another thing we had was a trannies. Transports, all sorts of problems. They didn't go anywhere on the opening either. So once those Qs failed, that really got everything going. You got airlines going to the lows. You've got CAT still skirting the lows. I could just rattle. And until that changes, you want to keep an eye on those broader average 60s, right? On 30s, and there's your 30 down in Qs. 60s, if you're going to firm up at all, you're going to watch right at the bottom of the hour, and you're going to see if any of these things can do green or give any type of reversal back up. As of right now, we're not seeing that, and that's what a simultaneous break looks like. All right, that's going to do it for today. As always, my videos here at Smith the Black Channel are always free, and they're hitting them right now, so have some fun with them. Take them down. All right, that's going to do it for today. I'm Rob Smith, the Smith the Black Channel here, Ticker Talker, with the Strat Time Report.